He and his company are leading an entrepreneurial charge to advance self-storage technology to both owners and customers. Dakota.
Bill. And I thought I was going to be real cool and, not do the traditional PowerPoint way, and so I'm praying that my podium's not in the middle, so I'm stuck in the corner. You got to bear with me, but my name is Dakota Harwell, and like she said in a little thing that she just read about me, I am a college student at the University of Alabama, and I was planning on coming here and boasting. That was the plan for sure. That was the plan for sure, but obviously that's not. Let's get on. But I'm not allowed to do that. I guess we had a bad night last night. You can only imagine. But like I said, I am a college student at the University of Alabama. And with that being said, I'm sure you're wondering what the heck a little college student is doing here and how I could possibly help you better run or better manage a self-storage facility, how I could possibly add value to your self-storage industry. But about 12 months ago, I helped co-found a company called Spider Door Technology. And I say Spider Door Technology, and she says Spider Door Technology. I'm like, what the heck is Spider Door Technology? But we're about 3 months away, and you're going to start to see our name hopefully a lot in the industry. But what we've done is we built a product, or we built a platform that allows self-storage owners to have their own personalized mobile app, meaning their name, their logo, anything that varies from facility to facility will be available in the App Store, in the Google Play Store, okay? And with this app, what we've done is we've integrated with the management software, with your management software. And as of today, we have SiteLink 100% complete. So we're ready to go with them as well as Quick Store. And like I said, over the next 3 months, we're planning on integrating with the rest of the management softwares. But with this app, it allows tenants to pay their bills in 2 clicks. You can rent units with this mobile app. They can rent additional units. You say you have a customer show up after hours, they show up during lunch, on a holiday, and they know that you have an app. They download your app, they can rent a unit through there. It takes them through the whole process, contract and all, through that. You can also open the gate, as well as send push notifications. But basically everything that a kiosk can do, our app can do, and yet it's in the pocket of the consumer. And what we're most pumped about, and why we think this product, this Spider Door technology, is going to be so valuable to the self-storage industry, is that we can give it to owners at what we believe is an ultra affordable price. And I could go on all day about the app, and I could sit up here and talk for 2 hours about the app, honestly, about all the features that come with it. But that's not why I'm here today. I'm here to hopefully shine some importance on the millennial generation, a generation that is honestly the way of the future, a generation that, as self-storage owners, as self-storage managers, we got to do something to appeal to them, to please them, because they're totally different than every other generation that's been here. And that's really what I'm going to get into today. And when I was preparing for this, I'm sitting at home, and for some reason I started to look up some of the new startups, some of the new products and services that were hitting the industry. And so I was Googling stuff, and I came across this chart that had your ultra successful startups that came up in the past 3 to 8 years. Your Uber, your Airbnb, your Snapchat, your Facebook. Okay, and it's on this chart, right? And so in this chart, it's separated by user base, and the user base is separated by age. And I thought it was crazy to see. I'm looking at this chart, to the significant portion, the significant majority that the millennial had in these companies. Okay, you look at Instagram. 90% of the users are millennials, and yet they're valued at $35 billion. You look at Uber. 75% of the Uber user base is millennials, and they're valued at $66 million. You look at Facebook. Okay, 65% of the users are millennials, and yet they're valued at $345 billion. Okay, and I tell you that to say, you just see the the power of the millennial generation. These companies, these ideas tapped into the millennial generation, and they let the millennial generation just take them and rise them straight up onto power, because that's how valuable this generation is. And I'm going to get into that the rest of the day. But then I moved on to look at some of your more established businesses, your Google, that's been around a little bit longer, your Google, your Microsoft, your Amazon, I think I said Apple already, but I started to look at them and I started to go in to some of their new services, some of their new products. What was the new things that they were throwing into the industry? And of course, I'm looking at the products and services, and of all the new things that they're throwing into the market, it's like all these products that they're releasing is directed right at the millennial generation. They're releasing things that appeal directly to the millennial, because they know how powerful the millennial generation is. And then I started to look at these big time brands, these big time companies, and I was just curious of how they spend their money in regards to marketing, okay? So I'm like, where do they pour their money? How do they spend their money when they're marketing and they're trying to build their customer base up, okay? And so I get in there and I ran across this report done by Turn Research, and it said that brands and marketers spent 500% more targeted to millennials than any other generation. They spend 500% more going after the millennial than any other group of people. So that just goes to show you that the millennial generation, not just in the self-storage industry, but in the industry as a whole, they are doing everything they can to reach the millennial generation, just pouring their resources at the millennial, trying to capture them and bring them to their business. And like I said, we've got to do, as self-storage owners, as managers, we've got to change up. We can't just be stagnant. We've got to appeal to the characteristics of the millennials, because they honestly are different than any other generation before them. And that's really what I'm going to hammer down the rest of the day. I'm going to get into exactly who the millennial generation is. Like when I say millennial, who is it that I'm talking about? And then I'm going to get into some of the characteristics that I think do a good job of portraying or explaining the millennial generation as a whole. And then when we knock those characteristics out, we're going to see, or what I'm going to give you my opinion on what I think needs to be done as managers, as owners, to tap into those characteristics or appeal to those characteristics. And just like every other industry, you're well aware the self-storage industry is super competitive, okay? I'm not sure if you have a facility out in the middle of nowhere where your potential customers are kind of on lock. But if you're like my father, he has a facility in Trussville, Alabama, okay? And he has 4 facilities within a 20-mile radius, okay? So we're competing for a customer. You have a customer who has 4 different options of where they're going to go store their stuff, okay? So it only makes sense that we're going to do everything we can to appeal, to please, and to give the millennial what they want. So they're going to come and give us their business. That's what we want. So it's a competitive industry. And when I get into, or when we start to look at who it is that make up the millennial generation, of course I hit the web and I'm like, millennial by the numbers or whatnot. And I found a census report, okay? And this census report was titled Millennials by the Numbers. And the millennials of the age of 18 to 36 years old, so that's the core group, that's who I'm talking about when I say millennial. It's 18 to 36. And obviously in 3 years they're going to be 21 to 39, obviously it's going to grow. And if you look deeper and you think about how many millennials are in America, I'm over here saying, dude, they're so important. And when you look at how many millennials are in America, you have 83.1 million millennials in America, 83.1 million millennials that we're trying to attract, okay? And just to put that number into perspective, as of last year, the millennial passed the baby boomer as the most populous or the most populated group of people in America. So millennials are the most populous by number, okay? And you dive deeper, and then you start to look, you dive deeper and you look at the spending power of the millennial, okay? The spending power, their buying power. And when I say spending power, I'm sure you're well aware of what spending power is, but how much money the millennial generation as a whole is pouring into the economy, okay? How much they're spending on products and services, how much they're throwing into the economy. And a Time magazine stated that in 2017, millennials will have more buying power than any other generation. And obviously their buying power, I'm going to go, Fortune magazine put out 2015, at the end of 2015, The buying power of the millennial was $600 billion. And over the next 3 to 4 years, that number was projected to increase 133% to $1.4 billion. And like I said, obviously, as time goes on, their income's going to rise, and that 1.4 trillion is going to continue to rise. And so what you have is, you have a large group of people spending a large amount of money, okay? You have the largest generation in America about to pour $1.4 trillion into the economy, okay? And as a self-storage industry, obviously we're only going to get a percent of that. But of the percent, we're competing for a piece of the cake of that percent. We're competing for a percent of that percent. So we got to do everything that we can to appeal and to please. In order to successfully market, we got to know who it is that we're dealing with. And like I said in the intro, the self-storage industry is competitive. And if you don't please the millennial, they're going to go elsewhere. And that's especially with millennial. I'm going to get into that later, but they're not brand loyal at all. If your stuff is not efficient, if it doesn't please them, if it's not quick, and it's not what they expect, if they expect something, they're going to go look elsewhere to find something more efficient. And so, like I said, I'm going to get into that later. That's pretty much a quick take on who the millennial generation is, who I'm talking about when I say millennial. And let's see, and then we're going to get, we start looking at how millennial acts, okay? Like I said, we're going to get into the characteristics, or what I believe does a good job of explaining the millennial generation. And I'm sitting at home, and I'm trying to figure out, how do millennials act? Everyone says we're so different, what do we do? And I think to myself, what is it that I do? I'm a millennial, I have been my whole life, and obviously I'm going to be a millennial the rest of my life. But I grew up with millennials. I'm surrounded by millennials every single day. I go to one of the biggest universities in America. I got thousands of millennials around me. I hang out with them, I eat with them, I drink with them, I bowl with them. I study with them, I test with them, I even date them. I date them. and so I thought, I was like, what is it I do? What do I see in millennials? And I figured it would be a good idea to give you my take or my opinion on the millennial generation. And I was talking with a guy earlier, and I know you guys may have the same opinion as this, but Time Magazine released an article, released a magazine that had the front page of the magazine. I should have brought it. But it was titled The Me, Me, Me Generation, okay? Explaining the millennial generation. Time Magazine, big time. All right, the Me, Me, Me generation, describing the millennial, okay? And then you go on the web, and I'm talking, there's overloads of information, of excerpts of people talking negative about the millennial generation. They say that we're lazy, that we're entitled, that we always got our hand out, let's see. Yeah. I mean, these words, it's not even good. And I could go on. I'm serious. And they're ambitious, that they're not ambitious, they're spoiled. And one thing we're known for that I hear a lot is that we're known for living in our parents' basement. That's a good one that I hear a lot, that we live in our parents' basement. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about these negative characteristics, and I think, I have all these negative things. I'm like, that's true to a certain extent. I know people who are super lazy, who do the Netflix and Twitter, Instagram, Facebook combo literally for 17 hours a day. They do that. I know those people, but at the same time, I also know it's 100% not safe to use that description when talking about the millennial generation. And one thing that I see most that I think debunk or knock all those characteristics out is that we are super ambitious. And I say that, and I don't know what baby boomers do or Gen Xers or how ambitious you guys were. But I see it tremendously. We got all these negative stereotypes, and yet I run into some of the most ambitious people I've ever met, okay? I thought that I'd drink big, I thought that I had big dreams and aspirations. I run into people into people all the time, man. They got their whole life planned out, and they got some goals and dreams that trump mine, and I also didn't know they could be trumped. I'm around people all the time who are honestly driving to change the world that we live in. They're honestly trying to make a difference into the world. And at the same time, when I'm looking at all these negative characteristics, about a week ago, Forbes released their 30 under 30, which is a group of about 600 individuals under the age of 30 who are basically, they're big time. They're founders, they're leaders in tech, they're leaders in the healthcare industry, leaders in the media, leaders in about everything you can think of. You know, your multimillionaires, your musicians and artists. And I love looking at that because that's my millennial, that's my generation. Okay, it's a group of people in the millennial generation who are out there literally changing the world, changing the way that people interact, changing the way that people live their everyday life. And it's the millennial that's doing that. And while we're still on my opinion regarding this millennial generation, what I did was I put together 5 little phrases that I believe do a good job of characterizing the millennial generation as a whole. And the first thing I got that I think describes us well is the phrase instant gratification, okay? We want everything now and quick. You look at Uber, on the rise, like I said, millennials, big user base. Uber, on-demand ride. You look at Airbnb, on-demand house. When I want a house in Colorado to go skiing, boom, I can pull up my app and get a house that quick. You look at the food industry. Everything's on demand now. I'm sitting on my couch and I want a sub sandwich. I pull out my app and it delivers to my house. Okay, an app called YouGo hit the university last semester. Okay, it's the weirdest thing that this thing is even successful. But it's called YouGo, and if I want something from the gas station, I want some Sour Patch Kids and a Gatorade. I want Sour Patch Kids and a Gatorade. It shows up at my door 10 minutes later, okay? So we expect things quickly, and if we don't get it quickly, we're not going to be satisfied. It's just how we think. We want things now. We're so used to everything being so, we were raised in technology, so everything's so efficient. And so when we don't see something efficient, we don't like it, and we know that there's going to be something else out there that is efficient. And the next little phrase I got is a just works mentality. Okay, people all the time say that millennials, they're so tech savvy, but in all honesty, we're really not that tech savvy. We don't know how it works. We just know that it does work, okay? We have no idea how it works. We just know that it does. Is iPhone not a clue how this works? But I know that it does. Everything I need, I know that it gets it done. These little apps on here, no idea how it works. And here I am about to deliver apps to the self-storage industry. I have no idea how the app works. I just know that you got to pay thousands of dollars to programmers to build these things. Okay? And so it's just a just works mentality. And you look at Venmo. I don't know if you know what Venmo is, but you upload your little credit card on there, and basically it takes the cash out of things. So if I owed you $10, like, hey bro, I can Venmo you. I hit $10 to you. It pulls it from my bank account, sends it straight to his. I have no idea how it works, but it does work. Okay, so we expect things to work like that, and when we don't see something working like that, we start to look elsewhere because it's in our mind that there's something out there that's going to work the way that we want it. The next little phrase I got or word is that we are penny pinchers, okay? What you have is a millennial generation that averages $30,000 worth of debt when they graduate college, okay? And so with $30,000 worth of debt, it only makes sense that the millennial is fairly conservative with their money, that they're smart with their money, that they don't do dumb things because they're $30,000 in debt. And what I've seen is that the millennial will go way out of his or her way to save a dollar. They'll do anything to save money, really. And I say that to say that they jump on deals, they jump on promotions, they jump on coupons like you've never seen. I'm going to use an example in Tuscaloosa. Okay, so what you have is a bunch of college students, and when you talk about college students, you just imagine how much they love alcohol, right? All right, so they love alcohol, okay, and they love margaritas, okay. So you got all these Mexican restaurants in Tuscaloosa trying to get all these customers to come and spend money there. So what I saw happen was this Mexican restaurant on this side of town comes out, hits social media, hits the road with signs everywhere, says, hey, on Tuesday we got $2 margaritas, we got a live band from 5 to 12 p.m., okay? Boom, that sign goes up right over here on the right side of town. Literally a week later, new advertising everywhere across the city. I'm talking flyers on campus. Hey, on Thursday, we got $2 margaritas at our place and a live band, okay? And so you know what happens on Tuesday? This Mexican restaurant is bumping all night long, and the rest of the Mexican restaurants are just a ghost town. On Thursday, bumping, the rest of the restaurants are a ghost town. That simple deal, that simple coupon grabbed the attention of almost not the whole university, obviously, but a majority of us, and we all flocked to that one deal. And so that's kind of like how we think. And then you look at not college students, you look at some of the older millennials. You just look at Amazon, okay? One of the most valuable companies in America. They're known for their daily deals. They're known for every day they got their products discounted tremendously, and look at their value. It's through the roof because people are attracted, or millennials are attracted to those discounts and to those deals. And then you look at Groupon. I thought this was cool because I don't use Groupon, but Groupon is a service that you sign up for, and every day they send you a coupon for a local restaurant, a local business, and so you got to use it that day. So if you go, you get a 25-50% discount. That's pretty cool, whatever. All right, so of course I go to Google, I type in the user base of Groupon. Of course, the millennials, more than 50% of their user base use Groupons because they love coupons and they do anything to save money. The next little phrase I got is that we are the Google it generation, okay? If we don't know something, we go straight to Google. I'm talking about anything. If I don't know how to spell Hublot, I go to Google and try to spell it, then it gives me the right way of how to spell it. If I don't know who the richest man in the world is, I'm going to say, Google, who's the richest man in the world? And they're going to give me the answer. If I'm trying to figure out why I got hair loss dripping right here coming up, I'm going to go to Google and see what they have to say about it. And everything, if we don't know it, we're going to go to Google. If we don't know where something is, we're going to go to Google. I tell another example that happened recently that I just went straight to Google. So I'm in Trussville, and I haven't taken my little girlfriend out in a while, and she's asking questions, and so I'm like, all right, I'm going to take her to a nice place. First thing I do, Google, hey dude, four-star, five-star restaurants in Birmingham. That quick, they give me the restaurant, I go, I take my girl to dinner there, and boom, I use Google. We depend on Google, we gotta have Google, and I'm gonna get into how important Google is here in a second. The last little phrase I got is that we are hard to satisfy. We are not brand loyal at all. Like I said earlier, we grew up with things being efficient. Okay, so if things are not efficient, we'll swap on you so quick. If a price drops, we'll swap on you so quick. If something social responsibility changes in a brand, changes in a company, we'll swap on you so quick, and we don't care. It's just how we've raised. We don't mind trying something different, especially if we see a better value on the other side. And another example in my own life, this one, 13 to 36 years old is his target market. Boom, popped him all the way up to $625 million. And when we think as self-storage owners what we could do to be socially responsible, I mean, you'd have to be creative. You'd have to partner with a company, or not a company, partner with somebody, a cause, partner with something. Maybe for every unit rented, every month we send $1 to fresh water in Africa, or to give kids fresh water in Africa. We give $1 to the Humane Society for every month you stay and you rent from us. And having that, if you do that, and having that on your website, having that out there is going to appeal to the millennial, and they can bite on that. And when I was driving up here, I had this weird idea, and I don't know if it can even happen, but I did have this idea. Are you guys aware of the Passion Conference that they had right here? Over there? It was mostly young people, but it's a Christian group whatever. What they do, they've done this thing called Compassion International, okay, and it gives people, kids, millennials, whoever, the opportunity to kind of adopt, kind of sponsor a child for X amount of dollars per month, giving them clean water, giving them education, giving them health care. Okay, so I was thinking, how could the self-storage industry tap in that? Could they partner with Compassion International and, come out and say, hey, for every month you stay here, we're going to give $5 to adopt a little kid named Miguel. And with this organization, they're interactive, so you can send letters to the kid sends letters back and whatnot. So maybe, I don't know how it would happen, it's just me thinking, but if you could find a way to integrate that and work that in, I think that's super appealing to the millennials. Like I said, if your facility offers that and others don't, and the millennial sees that, they're going to go rent from you. They're going to go give you $120 a month. It will be worth giving $5 away to a kid. Now, just social responsibility is what I'm getting at, and maybe something you can do at your facility that would be attractive to the millennial generation. And I honestly believe that if you do, that will raise in your customer base, obviously, with that happening. But with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got. I don't know if I went over time. I'm over here spitting everywhere. My mouth is dry. But that's all I got. I hope I shine some importance. Go ahead.
How can we get in touch with you? We got your name, but there's no phone number.
Phone number, dude. See, that's on me right there. I got a business card that I'm going to see you after, and then I'm going to give that to you. You got my phone number.
Look me up on Instagram.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
We can provide contact information on our website. We don't have an app yet,
There
but
you go.
the website for George Self Storage, we can get contact information.
Look me up on Instagram.
Thought we were just creative, something not normal. It doesn't relate to anything. It's something that, I don't know, try something creative that we still thought SEO, Spider probably gonna pop up front, nothing's named Spider Door. I don't know. Some people don't like. Some people think we're a door company, but that's why I added technology at the end to make it sound more like an app company. Go ahead.
Dakota, how would you say, or your opinion, as to how millennials like to provide feedback on what they like or don't like?
They love that. Okay, and that's something that I didn't get into, and that is that sways our opinion a lot. You have, I read something the other day that millennials don't care what celebrities have. Like, you have commercials with celebrities on there advertising products. We don't care what they have to say. We're more in touch with the actual user, someone who actually uses the product. I mean, you got Kylie Jenner using this weird makeup. She ain't using that. She's using something that costs thousands and thousands of dollars. So it only makes sense for the millennial to talk to an active user. So we really do look into reviews and what people have to say. And with all that being said, if you can get that crazy stuff that I'm talking about out there, millennials chat about that. They talk about that. And she brings up a good one. That is super significant. And you need to be well known, or not well known, but known for, I think, being socially responsible, and it's just attractive. You can talk about it, and it spreads good about your business. Anything else? Any more questions?
Are you Dakota _ Harwell?
Yeah. Or no, Harwell 46. Is that Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah, Harwell 46.
No, underscore?
No underscore. All right, that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for sitting here and listening to me.